This is Nan McKay, and I would like to introduce you today to Dorothy Vernon-Brown. Dorothy is at the forefront of today's digital disruption and has been trained by the world's leading digital experts and is a certified digital marketing customer acquisition specialist. And she's also an agency partner for the world's leading chat box platform. So welcome, Dorothy.
Thank you, Nan. Thank you for that really kind introduction. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, you're the owner of the AKB Marketing company. So tell us a little bit more about your company.
Sure, Nan. So AKB² Small Business Marketing, as the name suggests, is a marketing company for small business owners and entrepreneurs. I work primarily with small business owners and entrepreneurs to help them get their marketing from all over the place to all in one place. And that's what I have found is when clients start to work with me, and on the AKB side of things, I do primarily coaching now and some lead generation. I will talk about the Automate Smart in a little bit, but on the coaching side, or even just working with clients, what I have found, Nan, over the years is that clients come to me and they are all over the place. They have a little bit of this here, a little bit of that there, and there's no real strategy. So they start a business, they know they need to do marketing, but many just don't know where and how to structure their marketing so it becomes a system. And that's what I do with them. I help them to structure their marketing. So when I say structure, we typically start with strategy first. That's the very first place we've got to start. Anything you do, it's about the strategy first. And that's my approach. So when I talk about being all over the place and not being in one place, we start with the strategy first. So why is it that you're doing what you're doing? And then who is it you're serving? In as simple as that is, I have found that it's very diverse for a lot of clients I work with. They work with just about anybody who has a pocketbook. And we know that that's not so. If you want to serve your best market, you've got to figure out exactly who is that right fit audience for you, who is that dream client, who is it that will resonate with you, that you can serve your absolutely best to. And so there's a saying that the riches are in the niches. So I help those clients really figure out exactly where that is. We work on who that avatar is. Who can you serve? Because you know if you serve everybody, you're not serving anyone. So once we figure that out, then we have to figure out how do we communicate this message that I have something that can really help you overcome that problem, that obstacle, that pain, or the pleasure that you seek. What is that message to that right audience? And then once we do that, then we see how do we get that message out there, right? Because if we're not getting the message out there, if we're not getting in front of the right people, we have an invisible business. And that's what we do. What is that media we're going to use? What are they? Where are they? Where do we find those right fit clients? And particularly now it's online. So we're figuring out where are we going to take that message to them that I'm your best option right now to solve this problem. And then once we do that is how do we connect those pieces? So instead of working in silo, how do we connect the pieces so we can collect your information, collect the leads, convert them, wow, and deliver, and then create that community. So we actually help you to figure out what that digital ecosystem looks like. We talk about a customer life cycle from once they come to know, like, and trust you, then how do I get them to be this raving fans from me? So we take them along that spectrum by building out and helping them see what their digital ecosystem looks like.
That's really interesting. Would you share one of your best strategies or tactics that are working right now to grow your own business online?
Absolutely. So I can share with you some of the things that we are doing in our own business. So, our summits and webinars are things that we use because we find this is about giving value. Because the truth is, if I don't know you, I'm not likely to trust you as yet. But when I give you some kind of value for free, when I give you my all, when I bring to the table my expertise, and I'm not asking you for anything in return, then you're getting to know me, you're getting to like me. You know, there's a cliche around, you know, I ask you on a date. When I ask you on a date, I get to know you. I'm certainly not going to pop out a diamond ring to propose to you right away. You're going to think I'm creepy, right? So it's around giving that summit and the webinar is giving you value. And then once I give you value and you like what I have to offer, I start to ask for a little more micro commitment. I might say to you, well, if you like to be part of my summit, in exchange for this, you know, how about give me your email so I can give you more content? That's providing you give me permission to connect with you. And then once we do that, I start to really court you. Now I'm courting you. I'm bringing you the flowers. I'm bringing you the wine, and my flowers and my wine and a little piece of something that you really like here and there is more value around what really works for you. And that's how we do it when we do our summits and webinars. We give value and we start to ensure that you know, like, and trust you by giving you values of breadcrumbs along the way. So at some point, we're going to ask you for a bigger commitment.
That's probably very helpful for a lot of people that need to focus their efforts in a particular way, but don't know how to get there, really.
Yeah.
Now, you're the co-founder of Automate Smart. Why did you start that company, and what's the focus of that one?
Okay, so Automate Smartly, it's around digital automation. So Nan, what we found, my business partner and I, Lisa Digitally, she's a software engineer and I am the marketing strategist and lead generation strategist. What we found is that, again, everything is all connected. People are all over the place. There was the connection, they were working in silos. So instead of silos, we wanted to bring a system, a marketing system to people that, again, took them along a certain customer journey from here to there in a very systemized way, in a way that made sense, so they could really collect leads, they could convert the prospects, and they could really build that community of tribe. So they had a sustainable and resilient business. So systems give you resilience and sustainability. Silos break through and break down really easily. And one of the things I remember when I read the Michael Gerber book about why small businesses fail, something that I read that really stuck with me and resonated is around franchises. If you look at how franchises operate, let's take McDonald's, for example. If you go to a McDonald's in South Korea or in Brazil or in Toronto, where I'm from, yeah, for Toronto, or somewhere in the States, Florida, or so on. If you order a Big Mac, the process is exactly the same. And that's because the time to make it, the fries, everything, the entire process is the same. From when you order until when you receive your order, you can actually count the minutes that it takes for you to get it, barring some unforeseen circumstance. So that's what systems bring to you. It brings to you a process that you can bank on, that's repeatable and that's predictable. And that's what we saw with small business owners. They were lacking that system. They were working in silos. They were all over the place. So that with Automate Smartly, we brought the whole leverage. We leverage digital automation using chat automation, that's chatbots, email automation, SMS, and mobile wallet if we had to explode the sales, to bring a system in place, to explode the sales and to grow. Because at the end of the day, that's what we know small business owners want and people who are in a growth mode.
What innovation have you and other businesses like yours created to cope during the pandemic?
So here's the thing, Nan. So the funny thing, and I think we got the benefit of being in the digital space. I had been using a lot of the tools even before the pandemic. So people who had just got accustomed to Zoom, prior to 2020, I had been using Zoom for about 2 years because I recognized the shift in behavior. And when you're in the digital space, you start to see where the shifts are happening and where the disruption was going. and I started to recognize that reasonably early, that the shift was taking place. More budgets, big brands were dumping more marketing budgets to the online space than to the traditional media. And so that meant that if that was happening, it meant that that's where we could earn the attention of our right fit clients. So I saw that that's where that was going. And for us, I had started saying, one of the things I wanted to do in my business is to become, again, use a system, but use it smartly, because time is money. And instead of constantly going out to all of these networking events, and they're great, and I love in person, I get a lot of energy from that, but I needed to systematize what that was like. And so for me, Zoom was part of my whole system of connecting with people. The other thing was the automation. We started the automation, starting talking and discussing around 3 years ago. Not only automation has been around for a long time. So let's get that clear. What has happened in the last couple of years is that it used to be the purview of enterprise companies. They were able to afford those kinds of build out. They had the software engineer people on their team. They had the IT. They had all of these all of these resources on their team, but small business owners didn't have that. But when digital automation for the small business owner came on board, that's when we recognized that we too could use this system to really grow, to really systematize our own business and grow and explode. So we started looking at that because we saw the shift. We saw that the gap was closing in terms of the pricing to small business owners, and we started to look at that and close that gap. Then we also started to realize that chatbots have been around to the enterprise. You know, IBM and Watson has been around from, I think, from the 1960s, as a matter of fact. But we saw that people's attention span was all over the place. People were bombarded with information left, right, and center. And so it was, how do we, as small business owners, cut through that noise? What do we add to our suite of products in able to not only, we're not replacing anything, we're just adding to the suite to say, okay, if my email inbox is crowded, perhaps, and that's what we saw, chatbots could be a solution because it was easy, it was fun, it was engaging, and it was this one-to-one communication. And then we also recognize mobile. This world is about mobile first. We all have our phones. We're constantly using our phones. I call it from the boardroom to the bathroom. We have our phones tied to our hips, right? From the boardroom to the bathroom. So that was a shift in behavior as well. And we said, okay, that means people want SMS. And we added that to our slew of offering. And so we built out, for us, was building out this omni-channel approach. And can I tell you something, Nan? We proved it. We held a summit back in February. And when we asked people, how do you want us to communicate with you? 88% of people who signed up wanted us to communicate with SMS, that's text. 88%. That says that people want you to communicate using mobile. That's why we see this exponential growth in things like with chat and with WhatsApp and with text and all that, because people want convenience. They want to communicate exactly where they're at.
So have your business goals changed? And if so, how?
You know what, Nan, I wouldn't say it has changed. We have just doubled down. That's what I would say, is that we have the data to prove it. We recognize the shift, and we have just doubled down in saying, this is what our focus is going to be. This is who we serve. This is why we serve them. And this is how we're going to serve them in a much more, let's call it in a smarter way, right? Because it's automate smartly. It's in a smarter way, and in a way that gets them the results that they want in a much quicker way as well. So we're just double down on what we're doing.
So many small women-owned companies are struggling today, and most of them cite their need for revenue. Did you ever have a time when things weren't going great?
Oh, absolutely. You tell me which small business owner did not have that time. So I did. You know what, Nan? So I had to take a hiatus from my business a couple of years ago, and that hiatus was very long. That was about 5 years. And I was forced to take the hiatus because of health reasons. I actually came face to face with my own mortality, so I was battling to stay alive. And after I emerged from that, I had to rebuild my business. And you and I know that truthfully, most people, when they have to build a business, it takes up to 3 years to start to see anything growing and any revenue. So during that time, absolutely. But you know what, Nan, I believe so much in my business. I believed in just staying consistent and just doing the things that I needed to do. And that's what I would say to any small, because I've been there. I understand it. I've been in the trenches with other small business owners. I've been there myself, just having to build back from where you were to now. And I think this is what it's in the pandemic. A lot of business owners, women business owners, they've lost a lot. They have had to shift or pivot, or they've maybe lost a corporate job and are now looking at doing their own thing. And it's going to be hard. Most people are not going to have success overnight. That's a misnomer. Most of us do not have success overnight. But what I do know is that if you have a workable business, if it's a business that people want to buy, as one marketer puts it, if you can justify it, where more than your friends and family want to buy it, then you have a business, right? If you can justify that more people want to buy it, then all I would say to you is stay consistent, be persistent, but start with a strategy first. KFC, the KFC guy, he was 65 when he started. He had, when I said rejection after rejection after rejection, Dyson, all of these guys that we look at and you think they're overnight success, they've had multiple rejections, multiple bankruptcies, but they believe so much to their core in the business that they were offering. They just stuck it out. They stuck it and they just kept going. And that's what I would say to women business owners. We are a resilient group I think we're born special. There's something in us that won't allow us to give up. And that's what I say, tap into that. Tap into that warrior spirit that allows you to just keep going and showing up every single day, even when you don't want to.
Are you working remotely?
I am, and I've done this for years.
So what's the biggest tip you have to share?
Working remotely or just working, period. Working remotely, it's just a different way of working. So treat it as if it were 9 to 5. You get up, you set out your daily to-dos, your priority things, and you get up and you do exactly what you would do as if you were going into an office and someone was supervising you. You are your own supervisor. You have goals to accomplish. You have lives to touch. You have problems to solve. And you know what, you just show up, whether you're working remotely, you're in the office, or there's a hybrid of however you're working. It is the same thing. Bring that discipline to work, bring that, keep it's front and center what your goals are and who you're serving, and prioritize the work that you have to do and just get it done. That's what I would say.
And I'm probably harder on myself than anybody else would be.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
So my last question is, what is your biggest tip for entrepreneurs today?
Right. That's a great question, Nan. My biggest tip, and this is not being biased at all, because the fact is that now we're coming into a new, some people call it a fourth revolution. We had first, second, third, we're in the fourth revolution. And this fourth revolution is around the digital economy. My biggest tip is digitize your business. It's what we talked about. Connect the dots. Systematize your business and stop working in silos. Figure out what that system looks like, whether it's through automation or it's something else. But you've got to systematize your business. You've got to digitize. Because here's the truth, Nan. If you don't do that, if you still stay stuck in dinosaur land, your competitors are going to move ahead. It's as simple as that. So it's either you adapt or you die. And I'm not being cruel. I'm just being real about it. We are in a digital economy.
And it's moving quickly.
Very quickly, very, very quickly. I mean, it's a cliche now that the pandemic has accelerated the use of digital tools and so on over that last 11, 12 months, in 10 years. Just think about that. It has just accelerated this whole digital movement. So we've got to adapt or we've got to die. It's that simple to me.
So if someone would like to contact you, would they go through your website?
Absolutely. It's AKB smallbusinessmarketing.com or automatesmart.ly, or I can be found on the social media platforms. I'm on LinkedIn. You can search me by name, Dorothy Vernon-Brown. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and Clubhouse, Dorothy Vernon-Brown, and AKB Small Business Marketing.
Well, thank you so much. You are so much into today's problems and solutions. So we really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, Nan. This was fun.